Hi, folks. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you being here after the premiere of this most recent Cannabis Induced Psychosis story from Colorado. And I see we have a few people with us already, and I have a message coming in here, and trying to Pasadena, Texas, Virginia, Pasadena, Texas. Wow. So you probably heard of Dobie High School, San Francisco, California is Stacy, and uh, let's see. I'm trying to get our storyteller in the chat with us right now. So just bear with me for a moment because our storyteller is wanting to join us, and Marianne Hope. Thank you. I think the regulations are really the key. That's a thing from. Uh, Virginia, I remember a song about Pasadena High School. It's not pretty. Pasadena High School, scum of the earth, filth of creation, gone from bad to sun. Okay, well, anyway, I went to Dobie High School, graduated in 1980. Wow. Okay, so thank you for being here, Virginia. Uh, let's see, where was I? Okay. Uh, I'm trying to sort out the best way to guide our storyteller to the live event here, and uh there is a Pasadena, Texas, for sure. It is it has a nickname of Stinkadena because there is a whole lot of refineries in Pasadena and in the Pasadena area, Pasadena, Deer Park, LaPorte, Baytown, all of that, South Houston. So, anyway, I am trying to sort out. Hmm. I'm trying to get our storyteller to join us right here, and I'm looking at live event. I see that right there. Share, copy link, and now I can go to the chat and here we are. Okay. So, Stinkadena. Yes. Yes, Stacy, Stinkadena. So, where was I? I'm sorry, I got kind of derailed. Sending a message to our storyteller. So tell me, folks. I see we got Stacy, Virginia Collins, Pasadena, Texas. That is so funny. Uh, like I used to spend a lot of time in Pasadena, around Shaver, Southmore, 225, all of that. San Jacinto Junior College. I was a teacher at San Jacinto Junior College for a little while. Anyway, so Janelle Martinez, welcome. Hello from Puerto Rico, she says, and appreciate you being here. Stankadena, Stinkadena. It really kind of carries the same message, but Anyway, so tell me more about. Let's talk about the story we just saw. It's our first Cannabis Induced Psychosis story in a little while, and I feel like some of the things that really stand out to me about the story uh, is that it is under-regulated. That one of the things that Connie points out is that there's no consequence for not conforming to regulations. And that's not how the law is set up to work, but that's how it's being implemented. So that's a terrible circumstance where consumers can feel like what they're being exposed to is more regulated, more dependable, more safe than it actually is. So that's kind of a big deal. Stacy says your channel is where I learned the cannabis and psychosis. Thank God I know it exists to tell others. It's a brave thing to tell others, Stacy. There have been quite a few. There have been quite a few people who aren't happy at all to be hearing anything negative about cannabis, anything possibly negative about cannabis. That it's just no, not going to hear it. And there's no discussion. There's just this is it's crazy. If it wasn't so dangerous, if it wasn't for the potential for danger, it would be hilarious because of the passionate, fact-free way cannabis defenders will defend their weed. Jake says if you're predisposed to schizophrenia, I can see how it would definitely push you over the edge. If not, you'd just be in for a long ride. Yeah, what's that based on? Just speculation? Is there scientific research involved in that, or are you just going on what the guy behind the counter at the dispensary wearing the faded Nirvana T-shirt said? Because that is not accurate. The predisposition, a couple of things. First, could be that we all have some sort of predisposition for something. And so what? How do you know? Really? How do you know? So there's that. And there is no evidence that supports that it's triggered by predisposition. That a predisposition is mandatory in order to trigger cannabis induced psychosis or cannabis use disorder or cannabis hyperemesis syndrome. None of that cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. None of that is factual. Just factual. Just be factual. Factual. If you think it's a fact, find the information that supports what you believe and own it. But find the facts first, and the facts aren't going to be found inside a dispensary or by hanging out with a bunch of potheads or by personal experience. We get so many comments on our channel from people who say, I've been smoking weed for over 30 years and it hadn't had any effect on me at all. So, what is that? Why would that prove anything? Why would that demonstrate anything? One thing that stands out to me is those kinds of comments from people defending cannabis, they're way, way more likely to contain misspelled words. That's just a fact. When I say way more likely, here when we review comments, when it's a comment defending cannabis, we expect to see misspelled words because it happens so frequently. It's hilarious. Okay, I feel like I've missed some stuff. If you could get a hold of the stuff someone who had a bad reaction to smoked, I wonder if it could turn it in somewhere to get it tested. Well, here's the thing, Kathy. A lot of people who have bad reactions, it becomes documented because it turns into a crime scene. One of the stories on our channel is with Bryn Spetcher, who had a terrible reaction, a terrible violent reaction, and the crime scene that resulted was thoroughly checked out. There's all the testing. All of that went on for the trial, for the it was terrible. Jacob says, I'm not advocating or defending cannabis. I was actually agreeing with you. Boy, I sure hit a nerve. What I miss? What'd you say? What'd you say? Was it you said, I'm going off a personal experience. Hadn't smoked for 15 years and smoked half a joint and thought I was going to lose my mind. After it wore off, I was fine. Okay. And so I have to go back and find the one before. Oh, here we go. If you're predisposed. Yeah, no. The predisposed thing is a really common, let's make an excuse to defend cannabis kind of response. That comment and the comment, well, what about alcohol? That's the other one that is really common. It's hilarious. Jacob said, I'm not advocating. Okay. Viola says, I did not type Jupiter. I was replying to Jacob White. What'd I miss? I'm missing stuff. I know I'm missing stuff. My grandson, Kathy says, my grandson had a psychotic episode and had to be taken to the hospital and sedated for something he smoked out of a vape. Vapes, THC vapes, vapes with synthetic THC, vapes with fentanyl are even out there, and they're extremely dangerous. The risk is so. Ann says, currently I'm in the garage because my boyfriend locked me out of the house again. Well, gosh, Ann, what did you do? I'm lit sitting in the garage because my boyfriend is drunk. Every night, and he loves those the legal sister harass me. Okay. Stacy says, I've heard of that predisposed angle and didn't agree with a woman with a master's degree. Dropped the discussion with her. Yeah, there is a lot of cannabis defenders out there who just really aren't open to hearing any sort of discussion that might might require acknowledging that there's a potential risk, that there is something risky about using cannabis. And the same thing happened with other substances before that. It happened with alcohol, and it happened with cigarettes, and it happened with and eventually we figure it out. Tragically, it takes a lot. Anne says, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses since I'm in the garage. Well, I'm sorry, Ann. Sorry you're locked out of the house. That doesn't sound like a very pleasant circumstance. I forget what part of the country you're in, but it seems like pretty much the whole country's pretty cold today. And so I hope you're staying warm. Jacob says, "You're doing a good thing, Mr. Glenn. I agree with your work and you bringing awareness to deaths from people with fentanyl, mostly accidental. Peace be unto you." Well, thank you, Jacob. We have other stories as well. We have a series of stories on addiction recovery. There's over 60 stories in that series. We have a series of over 25. The Cannabis Induced Psychosis series is over 25 episodes. And then there is also a series on addiction. I'm sorry, I already mentioned that. There's a series on domestic violence and a series on human trafficking. And there is a series on, feel like I'm forgetting one. There's a set of stories on our channel about impaired driving as well. And there's a series called American Peace Officer. And that series is about humanizing law enforcement. Enough already, Ann. What? What did I miss? So if there's anyone who's made a comment that I missed, please repeat it. It says, I have a lot going on here, and there is no staff here. I'm trying to see if Connie, our storyteller, Glenn and Glenn's wife. Yeah, that would be Glenn and Sherry. Yeah, Sherry's awesome. She's really awesome. And she does so much important stuff, so much organizational stuff, so much. When we're on location, she does so much to keep things flowing smoothly, and she's wonderful, and she's so passionate about making things go well and helping people. It's wonderful. Kathy says, "I thank you for what you're doing in the series. I feel like I can trust this way more than from the companies producing this stuff. I really appreciate you." Thank you very much, Kathy. That means a lot to me, and certainly to my wife, who is not here right now, but should be home soon. Yes, Sherry. My brother Alexander says my brother tried weed 2 times. Both times he went into a weird catatonic like state. And there's Cindy Bennett. Howdy, Glenn. I still want your jacket, by the way. Well, we can maybe work something out. So, sorry, I'm in the garage. Okay, I got that already, right? I'm in the garage trying to stay warm. My boyfriend drinks daily. Jackweed isn't the same. I don't know what jackweed is. Is the storyteller's son still alive? Yes. Yes, he's still with us and making progress. I don't know if I don't know if the storyteller has managed to join us or not. Connie, are you with us? I see Anna is saying, "I need help." Anna, yes, you certainly, Risk is here. Hey, welcome. So, Anna, if you need help, there's got to be local help where you're at. Where are you? I don't remember. I need to know how to deal with an alcoholic. Risk is certainly cutting right to the chase. uh, leave his ass. That's a tough spot. Don't deal. Now that is a thing. That is a thing, Ian. Don't deal. Don't make deals. If someone is in the depths of a substance use disorder, they're in the depths of addiction, then their mission is their next dose, their next serving, their next whatever. And so you can't have a lot of faith in the promises they make in addiction. And I say that because a lot of people in recovery have told me that. That's a consistent thing because their priority is feeding their addiction. Stacy says you cannot deal with an active alcoholic. You must want to dry out. Kathy says, and you can't help an alcoholic. They have to want help and seek it, or you are in danger. You have to get out of there. What? Petra Dobmeyer. Okay. Where shall Anne go? Well, Anne, what kind of resources do you have where you're at? I don't remember if you said anything about what part of the country you're in, but what part of the country are you in? And if you have resources, if you have friends, family, maybe church, maybe get involved in Al-Anon, which is for family members of alcoholics. Uh, and Virginia says, "I love listening to the stories while working." Well, I'm glad you're getting. I'm glad you're getting something out of the stories. I'm still kind of amazed at just how close you are to where we are. Stacy says 100%, Glenn. This is true. Yeah. Anne says, what do you do when so much has so much control and they know it and they use it regularly? Hmm. Al-Anon does help some people. And I think that the thing that helps about Al-Anon is the fellowship, the connection with other people who are going through similar experiences. What am I supposed to do? Kimberly says, what am I supposed to do with my young lady client walking outside in the cold? Well, she can't be in the cold. I don't, that is a terrible, tough spot to be in because it is so brutally cold. We are pretty far south here in Houston, and right now it is 37 degrees here, and the low is going to be 29. That's pretty brutal. Kathy says they can't control you if you aren't there, Ian. You have to worry about you and go somewhere. Even if it's a shelter, I had to take my 4 kids and go to a shelter before. They will help you. That sounds like wonderful guidance. Yeah, and really, you have to look after yourself first. It's just like the emergency warnings that they tell you when you're on an airplane. Put your mask on first. Take care of yourself first before you take care of anyone else. Before you try to take care of anyone else, you have to take care of yourself first. Stacy says Bergland. Yeah. No risk. Haven't seen Carla in the last couple of lives, but I'm sure she's around. Sure, she's got cool stuff going on. I think. Same with Brad. Anne says I'm trying, but I made poor choices and got myself into this. But Anne, you have the power to get yourself out. It's real easy for me to be sitting here and say that to you, but that's the reality. You do have the power to get yourself out. You're, in fact, you're the only one who has the power to get yourself out. You get yourself out, find shelter, sort out your priorities. First, you need a place to sleep, a place to live. And then from there, move forward once you're in a warm, safe place. Kimberly says it is 10 degrees here in Memphis. Whoa. And Marianne Hope is asking, Ann, are you smoking weed? Kathy says, Ann, I speak from experience, hon. You are the only one who can help you. Call the police department and see if they know where you can go. Well, that's a good idea. I know at the end of a lot of our stories, we have a graphic that says to call 988. And I've heard mixed reviews about 988. I've heard some people say that they were very helpful, and I've heard other people say they didn't do anything. And so they're what we have. We started putting 988 at the we started putting 988 at the end of our stories because the DEA recommended to us that we do that. So that's where it came from. Yes, it is 10 degrees in Memphis. And are you lit? Kathy says it's 10 degrees in Ohio too. So if I missed, probably in the low 50s in San Francisco. Well, that's part of being on the coast. So if anyone has shared any comments that I've missed, please repeat them. If there's something if you had a question or something, Midwest Mama is here. Welcome. Glad to see you here. What are some of the getting back to the story that we just premiered? What are some of the things that stand out to any of you about what we just saw? I think what struck me is the level of information that the storyteller had regarding cannabis and how the perception is regarding regulation compared to what the reality is. Petra Dubmeyer asks Ann, where do you live? Kathy says, I was wondering where Ann lives too. And Viola says, so the cannabis situation with our young people, I wonder, with a large percentage of defenders, education to the youth becomes less and less. Yeah. And yeah. And it's not just education. Education, of course, but there's also accuracy in the information they're getting. And as cannabis becomes more and more popular, accuracy is influenced by financial considerations that cannabis industry people want a certain narrative, much the same way the tobacco industry did, and much the same way the alcohol industry did, and much the same way that the pharmaceutical industry did and does. That cannabis is an industry just like all of those other things. Risk 603 is asking, is Carla okay? And that is a good question. So I don't know what I can, I don't know what, I haven't spoken to Carla in a little while, but that I can tell you that Carla posted something yesterday. And so yesterday evening. And so I feel like she's just busy with something else tonight. Kathy says the storyteller was amazing. She didn't give up on her son and she shared what she learned to help others. And she still hasn't given up on her son. Risk Glenn, I asked, is Carla okay? That and I answered, right? But I just checked her activity on Facebook and she has a post from yesterday evening. And I figure she's probably just busy doing something else. It's Saturday night. That's my thinking. I could be wrong. It's gonna happen one day. So we have next weekend. We're gonna be recording stories in San Antonio, Texas, and most of those stories are gonna be stories about missing persons, which is a new topic for us. I think I shared with you guys graphic, but no, evidently not. But I can load it back up and we can talk about it again because it is. I'm looking. I'm looking. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. There it is. I'm really working on it. I'm trying. AJ. Guess not. Oh, I know where to get it. I know. So just bear with me for a moment. There we go. All right. Okay. All right. So we do have this coming up. Glenn asked, is Carla okay? And I answered that. Hopefully not losing power with the cold. I suppose it's possible. That would be awful. My my in-laws lost power for several days. We see you're working on it, Glenn. Don't worry. Hmm. So, this is the series that we have coming up. Still missing. We'll be shooting our first story regarding missing persons next weekend. Next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we will be in San Antonio shooting stories that are primarily about that. And so eager to get started on that topic. We also have coming up, here's the two summits that we have coming up. We have San Antonio on February 6th and 7th, and then we have Foley, Alabama on February 20th and 21st. And both of these um, will be important events. Both will involve some fentanyl stories, and I believe both will involve some missing person stories. I know that Foley will also have some addiction recovery stories, and don't know for sure what else. Our summits are open to all kinds of topics. They tend to primarily be fentanyl, recovery, trafficking, cannabis, and I'm working on domestic violence. The series is going to be heartbreaking. Here's the thing about the missing series that's different, I think, from the other series is there's a chance, at least for some of the stories that we publish, there's a chance that doing that, publishing the story, could lead to new information that helps resolve the case. And it could lead to good news. It's possible. And that's kind of exciting. Uh-oh. Got out of water, but I still have coffee. Kathy says it's good to share recovery stories so others can see that it's possible for them to. That's my feeling. In the comments on all of the stories on our channel, particularly on the fentanyl stories, we hear from people a lot who are in recovery, who are trying to get in recovery, who just want to be in recovery, who had just started their recovery journey, and to be able to point to the recovery series and say, here's some stories that might help you. Here's some stories that you might find interesting. That is wonderful to me because it's there's so many of them that surely there is an opportunity for anyone to find a story that is more or less in line with their circumstance, that's similar some kind of way. Midwest Mama says we have a cold case from where I'm at. She's been missing since 2018. She was involved in addiction. Does not seem right. Very scary. Yeah. Yeah, for sure it is. It is. Viola says, like Brenda. We haven't seen Brenda in a while. And so now I'm just gonna check on Brenda and see how she's doing. Huh. Well, I'm not seeing a lot of activity for Brenda. So let me do this. Brenda, are you there? Are you quietly trolling the room? I don't know, but I'm checking in with her. And we'll see if we hear from her. Kimberly says we are an awesome support group, and yeah, I think so. I think we're an informal, awesome support group. Stacy says I passed on this channel to a friend who works with addicts in recovery. That's awesome. Uh, what 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 part of the country? Petro does. Anne, are you still in the garage? Yes, Anne. Anne, how are you holding up? You still in the garage? You have you called anyone? Have you thought about calling anyone? There is help out there. You can try the 988 number and ask them who locally you should reach out to. Kimberly's asking where's Brenda at, and don't know. Could be she's just tied up with something else. Hmm. All right. Sorry, just trying to figure things out because it's all very complicated back here, and it's just me. So I'm trying. San Francisco, Stacy's in San Francisco. I assume that that's what SFCA means, San Francisco, California. I guess it could be San Fernando, right? And so Anne says he has lost enough. I just want to exist and leave it at that. You want to exist. Hmm. And you're worthy. It's reasonable to want to exist, but you're worthy. You can try calling 988, try calling whatever kind of local help resource is out there because you can't stay in the garage all night. It's too cold. You shouldn't stay in the garage all night either way, but it is definitely too cold to be staying in the garage. You have to call someone. Maybe there's a friend you can call. If not, you can call 988. You can call shelter. You can try church. There's a lot of resources out there, but you got to find them. Midwest Mama says, I know of many without power. Thanks for checking on your friends. Kathy says, well, like him, you have to be ready to ask for help too. I pray you realize that before it's too late. Anne kind of has asked for help here. She said, I need help. So that's gonna stick with me. And so for sure, Anne, you gotta find a solution. Viola says, Anne, you want to be more than just existing. Yes. You let me in finally, but I'm not going to retaliate. I just want to exit. Yeah, I understand your logic there. You just want to kind of keep the peace until you can get out. But getting out needs to be really a priority. It, for sure. That doesn't seem unrealistic at all considering what you've shared with us. And so we're here for you and we'll do what we can. You need to call someone. Okay. All right, now I'm out of coffee and out of water, so it means it's going to be time to wrap it up pretty soon. We have been here over 45 minutes. And my day started so early today. Holy cow. And you don't want to. Okay. Anne says, I'm trying, but considering the poor decisions I've made, I'm searching. All right. And we've all made poor decisions before. That's not who you are. It's just something you did. It's something we've all done. Doesn't make you stupid or less worthwhile. Kimberly says, we are here for you, Ann. And yeah, we are. Don't don't be hard on yourself. You attract what you dwell on. So dwell on solutions. Dwell on finding a way out, finding a better circumstance for you, and finding safety. Kathy says, I totally understand that, Ann. I was there for 20 years, hon, when I realized is every time I keep the peace, I validate what he was doing as being an enabler or being codependent. Or I'm sure therapists have tons of other latest and greatest kind of terms for it, but ultimately, they're all flags that you need to do something different. Amanda Hatfield says, great discussion. My husband has smoked for 30 plus years. I believe he has late onset schizophrenia and paranoia due to this. He also grayed early and had a massive heart attack 5 years ago with 5 blockages. Now, cannabis defenders would say, well, how do you know it wasn't a pre existing condition? How do you know what other medications has he been on? They'll have all kinds of ways to challenge the role that cannabis could have played in his circumstance. Ann says, thank you. Midwest Mama says, have a good night, guys. I'll have to go watch the premiere. Y'all know my timing is already off. That's okay. That's okay, Midwest Mama. Good night to you, and we will see you soon, and we will be wrapping this up pretty soon as well. Viola says, and we all have made poor decisions. I'm encouraged that you even shared your situation with us. It can only mean that you have the will to get out of it and overcome. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. Will, having the will, having the motive, having the willingness just to share is a big deal. So Kimberly says, and I'm 12 years clean now from cannabis and alcohol. Awesome job, Kimberly. Viola says, hey, doggy. Yeah, they're barking. It happens. Uh, Stacy says, super cool, Kimberly. And Kathy, my young lady client, was in domestic violence. That's terrible. Ann says, I am working on myself. Awesome. Brenda's here. All right. Glad to see you, Brenda. I had to go on Facebook and check and see if you were around. Ann says, I'm working on myself. That's awesome. That's what you've got. You're working on yourself. And there's people that will help you. There's people who want to help you, people that are there to help you. We always want to help. Aside from us, there's local resources. There's not a lot we can do other than be cheerleaders, but there's local resources wherever you're at. There's some kind of local resource that can be helpful. And so Brenda says, hi everyone, snowstorm knocked out power for 3 days, internet for 6. Holy cow, it could go nuts. Kimberly says, I'm a firm believer in hope. You have to believe in hope. Have to believe in hope. It's vital. Stacy says, Brenda, I love that statement, talking about Brenda's statement, what you take for granted, someone else is praying for. I love it too. I think it is extremely powerful. It is a great reminder that everyone should be grateful for where you're at, regardless of where you're at. It's a kind of, it could always be worse thing, I suppose, but what you take for granted, someone else is praying for. I think that's so profound. Jeanette says he got addicted. From there, he jumped to heroin, which was laced with fentanyl. He died several times, but survived. I ran into a reporter and told my story. Several reporters interviewed. Awesome. And Brenda says she got caught up in her book reading as you've been unplugged. Anne says it's a stretch for me even doing this because I fear people and causing problems. But if I'm going to be in the garage, I just decided to take a chance. Thank you, Anne. That's the kind of chance. That's the kind of chance to take to help yourself. Kathy says you made a big step tonight, Anne, and that's an amazing start. Kathy's right. Kathy is completely right, Anne. You're helping yourself. Just keep moving down that road. Padusa, Padusia. Hi. Thank you for joining us. We are actually just about to wrap it up, but glad you're here. Appreciate you guys all being here. Gratitude. Gratitude is everything. The thing is, in general, you attract what you dwell on. You attract what you dwell on. And so if you dwell on gratitude, you will have more things to be grateful for. Who doesn't want that? Stacy says, Godspeed, Ann. Kimberly sends hearts. And Padusa, I will watch the replay. Viola says, we got you in. And so, for real, you should keep in touch. These people in the chat, they're going to ask me. So, at least keep in touch with me. Or keep coming to the chat. People care about you here. It's an awesome, awesome environment. And so, I love that you made a big step tonight, Ann. And that's the amazing part. It is the amazing part. That is a big deal. Let's see. And God is there with you, says Kimberly. And that's totally right. Jeanette Martinez says it's very important that doctors ask background medical family history. His addiction could have been provoked. That was caused by doctor's negligence. And don't fear. God is with you all the way. You made real progress today. So keep in touch. Now, let me tell you, we have a private Facebook group. And in our private Facebook group are primarily people who have shared stories with us or people who wish to share stories with us. And I feel like, and you certainly, I feel like you would appreciate being in the group. If you're on Facebook, you can find me by my name, Glenn Muse, and send me a friend request and then send me a message in Facebook Messenger reminding me to invite you to the group. The group is a private group, so I don't believe it shows up in searches. The name of the group is Texas Picture Storytellers. And it's a great group. There is about 600 people in the group, and the value of the group is whenever we publish a story, it's announced there in the group first. And whenever we have a storytelling summit, it's announced there in the group first. And that the reason for that is so if there's anyone in the group who hasn't shared their story yet, but want to, and the summit's going to be in an area where they are, they can sign up first before we make it public, before we make it personal. And Brad's joining us just as we're wrapping things up. Of course he is. When am I coming to Oklahoma City? When it gets warmer. There's that for sure. And she says, yes, it is a big deal. Cindy says, Brad, with several exclamation points. That's making it louder. And that's good because Brad's an old guy. So after it gets warmer, Brad, but come on down to Houston. We'll hook you up. We'll have a nice time. Bring Carla, and we can hang out and just have a great time. Cindy's laughing. Good work, Brenda. Love that. Jeanette says doctors giving out medication like candy needs to be regulated stronger. Yes, I believe you're right. It needs to be regulated more thoughtfully. Maybe that's the way to put that. That it seems like whatever direction regulations go, they produce some sort of result that is different from the intention. And says, I just don't do these kinds of things. I've made plenty of mistakes myself. I'm not perfect. I just don't try to defend myself because I feel like I've made so many mistakes. Well, we've all made mistakes, and we all make mistakes. The only way to not make mistakes, I think, is to not do anything. And how boring would that be? Progress requires risk. You can't, in baseball, you can't steal second base while keeping one foot on first base. There has to be some risk. Cindy, I am better now that I am plugged back in. Yeah, well, we're all glad you're plugged back in, Brenda. And I've made mistakes too, but I progressed. You can too. You are progressing. And I think that probably there's some progress in your recent history that you're underestimating or undervaluing. I'm just guessing. But it is going to be about time to wrap things up for now. We have been here for a little bit over an hour. It ain't the same without your girlfriend. Without your girlfriend. Cindy, who you talking to? Are you talking to Brenda? Brenda's a keg. Brenda is Brenda's wonderful. You guys, all you guys are wonderful. But it is about time to wrap things up. I am going to be publishing our next story, hopefully on Monday, but we're still waiting for some pictures. Now, while we're in San Antonio, if you guys have any sort of ideas for other things to do while we're recording stories in San Antonio, please share, and uh, and we'll try to make it happen. especially those of you that are members of our channel. We're always looking for new ideas to offer members a little bit of extra value without excluding content from the general public, because our content tends to have messages that need exposure. So I hope that makes sense. Anyway, we are Brad. The traffic in Houston's awesome. You come see for yourself. Come on. And Cindy says, tell Carla I said hello. And Brad says, I will. Kimberly says, hey, Brad. So, anyway, I really want to stress, I know I always do this when the graphic comes up, but I really want to stress how important it is that everybody understand that you're welcome to reach out to us at any time. You really are. Maybe there is a storyteller that you'd like to get a message to, or maybe you're looking for more information about something, or you've got an idea for a story, or whatever it is. We are here for you guys, and we're always grateful to hear from you. So please feel free to reach out to us. And as Brenda always says, remember that what you take for granted, someone else is praying for. Love that. It's such an attitude of gratitude, and that draws more things to be grateful for. So that's important. Brenda is off to play catch up on the premieres that I have missed. Love you all. Well, you have a good time with that, and hopefully we will be back live again after whatever premieres on Monday. Thank you all for joining us, and we will get back to you soon with more stories. So remember, you can reach out to us at any time by email at info@texas-pictures.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on TikTok too, but we're not very attentive with that. We're also on Instagram. Not as attentive with that as we should be either. You can learn more about us on our website as well, texas-pictures.com. There's a link on the homepage about how to share your story, and there's a link to our merchandise store as well as more information about us, including a mailing address and telephone number. So thank you all for being a part of this, and we will talk to you guys next time. Good night, folks.